Hello, Rich Spezzano here from Digitally Fearless, and today I'm going to show you how to create this 3D mock-up. You can do it with photographs or you can create your own layout. And the best part about this is you can move them around and just watch them wrap as they move. So you can move this whole thing, you can move them individually, and they will stay in 3D perspective, just like that. If you keep watching this video, I'll show you how to get this template I designed so you can just add your artwork right to it and it'll work with 3D, just like this. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I want to show you is to set up the template. The template is extremely important and it's not that difficult. And once the template is set up and you save that template, you can put any product on it or photos or anything else and they'll wrap around this template in 3D. So it's worth the effort. But if you don't want to create the template on your own, at one point in this video, I'm going to give you a link so you can download the template that I create right here. So you don't have to do it, but it's good to learn. So let's get started. So here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is take a shape. And I'm just going to make a rectangle. You have to decide. I'm thinking cereal box size, and I'm just using estimations because this is a quick tutorial. Normally you're doing product layouts and they're going to take a long time and every measurement has to be perfect. But for this tutorial, I'm just giving you the basics. You can always change the measurements. Here's the first rectangle, and then I'm going to duplicate that. So it's Control or Command J, and I'm going to put this. And think of this as the flat version. That would be the side of a box of cereals, say. There's the front and there's the side. And let's take this one again and do Control or Command J to duplicate that. And let's say that that's the top of the box, approximate. And yeah, I think that kind of works. I think we're good. So one other thing I'd like to do, make sure that there's a stroke. We should make sure all the strokes are about the same. So all three, everything shows now. And a good idea now is to take your guides and match the guide to all your outside lines. Very simple. Okay. And now let's do that. And now we're all set up for the flat version of this. So I want to take, let's put them in order. I want to basically use the front facing one as the main one, and I'm going to call it front, right? And this is going to be called side, and this is going to be called top. And all these namings are very important to organize later on, so I highly suggest that you use the names. You can choose your own names, but please keep it organized. Once the template is created, it's really important to see all the names so when you put your new work on it, it works out really nice. So that's where we're at right now. So now I'm going to take the front, and I know this is weird. I'm going to make a placeholder, and I'm just going to put a big X there. And I have a reason for doing this, and I'll show you later. Okay? And I'm going to call that placeholder. And now I'm going to take that and duplicate it. So Control, oops, there we go. Control C, Control or Command C and V. So now I have another one. And I want one of these placeholders in front of each. So this one goes on the side. And of course we want to fit it on the side somewhere like that. And then I'm going to copy and paste it again. And this time I'm going to put it right on top of the top one. So now if we move this, we can move that up to the top. So now we know we have a placeholder for each. And now here's the tricky part a little bit. You take the front and the top, make sure you take the two placeholders that are part of the front and you group it and you call it front, right? Then you take the next two, you group them and you call it side. And then the next two, and you group them, and you call it top. And the last thing to make it really all work out is you right-click, and I'm going to give this one color, the side another color, and then the top another color. Okay, so now we're all set for the fun stuff. So this is called, we're going to group this whole thing now, and Control or Command G, and we're going to call this flat version. Okay, so there you go. Here's your flat version. And now we're going to duplicate that. We're going to Control or Command J, and we're going to call this 3D version. Okay, and 3D version's here. And now we want to hide the flat version and lock it. So here's the 3D version. Now, once again, we need to color code. And there's a reason for this, and I'll show you later on. You'll be thankful for me for color coding it, and it'll make life easier. Okay, so now we have a flat version and a 3D version. Okay, now we close it up. Now we go to the 3D version, and we select front, and we go to live filters, and then we go to perspective. And you can decide what your perspective is going to be. And you notice how the placeholder where I put the X moves with it. So let's say this is where I want my box to be. You can make that decision later, but this is where my box will be. And I think that's fine, and I'm going to just OK that. And then I'm going to take the side, and I'm going to do the same perspective. I'm going to go to live filters and perspective, which is a live perspective, so you can move that around if you want later on. And I'm going to make that one maybe go up a little bit, and make this one go up too, kind of like this. Now you should be much more careful about your dimensions and all, but this is a quick tutorial, as quick as I can make it in this situation. So I'm just doing it by eye, but you should be much more careful when you do it. And then the next one is the top, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to perspective. And top, this one is a little bit trickier, so I'm going to get close up, because somehow I tried this before and it was not working as well. But let's see. I have to move this to here and move this one down this way and this one down this way, and it wasn't moving as quickly. See, this isn't even erasing as I do it. And I'm kind of thinking, let the computer have a second to think about it, and maybe a tiny bit more this way I think is pretty good. And I'm going to say okay. All right, not perfect. So what I can do here, because this is open, so what I can do here is I can go back to that perspective, which is live, and I get to move that, which is wonderful. Having a live perspective, you can adjust things as you need it, and that's better. So let's go back, and that's it. So now what I would suggest you do at this point, and this perspective is not very good. In fact, this one should be higher, I think. So let me go to the front, and let me grab this one again and go up a little bit higher, I think, like that. Okay, I forgot one more thing. Before we turn this template into a final template, we need to mask this template. So the way you have to mask it is you take this group, you Command or Control click, you select that particular one, and then you put a mask on it. Okay? So there's a mask there. And now we do this, we deselect, Control or Command D, we go to the other one, and we do again, click to select that section, and then we mask that, and then that has a mask in there. And then we deselect, and we go to the top one, and we Control or Command click there, and we mask it. So now that we've done that, now the template is ready. So now save this as a template. Just save it, don't lose it, and then open another file and bring it in just separately. Do not overwrite this file. So now the fun part. Let's first just start with a stock photo. we're going to just grab the stock photo and bring it in. I am recording, so once again, because I'm recording and I'm doing so much perspective here, one perspective on top of another, it's a little slow, but let me tell you, without the recording, this works fine. So I have no issues with it. So we go back to the layer, and we have to decide, let's do the flat version first, where we want this layer, this girl to be on this box. So we can move her around. We could say, well, we want her maybe even to, this whole photo, maybe we want it to wrap around so that the flowers are going out the sides, and we maybe want her bigger. So that's where we want her. So that is my placeholder. That's exactly how I work with flat version. So let's hide the flat version and show the 3D version. And remember, we did placeholders. Here's why we did a placeholder. We're going to first, we're going to copy this picture and then hide it, right? And then we go to the placeholder for the front and we paste. And that's great. And then we can close that, and then we go to the placeholder for the side. Here it is, and we paste. And we go to the placeholder for the top, and we paste. And now we have a wrapped picture. Now here's the fun part. You can work it with the front or the back, but let's just say when we're forgetting about the flat section right now, now we're done and we want to just adjust this. What we can do is we can select this picture on the front and then Control or Command that one, and then also her picture on the third one. Now we have all three side pictures, and watch when we move. She wraps wherever we go. Maybe we want her taller on that box. And so that's pretty cool. So you can even have the flower coming up to the top. Maybe we don't want the flower on the top. Maybe we want a little bit more showing on the front and it going around to the side. So that's how you get the photos to work. So now I'm going to delete those photos. Let's take them all, get rid of them. And wow, when I was playing with this without recording, this was going so quick, and now it's moving really slow. But remember, you're not recording when you're doing it, so that's fine. Okay, so now let's try product placement, which is something I wanted to try. So I would like to first, I think I wanted to turn well, let me see. I had done one before, just let me see what I did here. I want to turn this on. And I'm going to, oops, I can get rid of this girl. And I'm going to move my product, which I created, to the top, which looks very strange here. So basically, what I tried to do here is I went to the flat version. So I will hide this and go to the flat version again. And here's my flat version. And what I did was, this one is a shape, which I can recreate right now. If you want, I'll just get rid of that. And I did curves, and I did something like this. Something like this. And I made it black and no stroke. And then I converted it to curves. Oh, by the way, I want to put that on the bottom. And I converted it to curves. So here's convert to curve up here, which means now I could take my node and I can kind of do something like that. In fact, I'll even move it down more. And I did something like that. So that's how I got that. I brought in my logo. This is my shameless plug, by the way. This is why I'm doing this. So that's how I got the black. We're working on the flat version right now. So we just want to see what it's going to look like on the box. I just typed some text. It was free learning right here. And I think I wanted the color of the box to be the same color, but I'll work on that in a minute. and then I type some text here, and then here what I did with this, I created a ribbon. By the way, this is just a computer, a Mac computer, and I just added, I'm doing this very quickly just to show you because it'll take me too long to do the whole thing over again, but I'm just trying to show you what I did here. And so once you have your layout, you decide on your layout, you group that layout. So I created this group and I called it Layout 1. And now comes the fun part again. I am going to hide the flat version. I'm going to put the 3D version up again. And we're all set up. And now remember the placeholders again. I am going to first copy. That's copy, Control Command C, and then I'm going to hide that. And then I'm going to go to the placeholder and Control Command V. All right, and then now remember, let's get rid of hide the front again and go to the side and do the placeholder again. Select the placeholder and Control Command V, and then we go to the top and we look at the placeholder on top and Control Command V. It should, oh, here it comes. Taken very long time. Okay, so by the way, so now we can hide all these placeholders. Let's open these up, the original placeholders, so the X's are gone. And then the last thing I want to do before I move them around and decide where I want to put it, let's hide the placeholders so we don't have X's. So the next thing I want to do is the box. I don't like the colors of the box, so I can just select this box and change that box to a white box. And then I will select the side and turn that white also. And I don't need to turn the top because there's nothing showing. So now remember when we did all our layouts, if we select layout from the front plus layout from the side plus layout from the top, we have all of them selected. And now we can move them around. So let's say we wanted this over a little bit more this way. It's trying. Or we can move it a little back. And you notice the ribbon actually moves with it. Again, this is very slow, but it's not, I did this before. It is not slow when you are not recording. So be aware. And if you want to take individual pieces, like for example, this We Love Affinity here, I can go, that's the side one. Let's go to the layout of the side and it says We Love Affinity. So we could select that one and move it. And as we move it, it'll stay in perspective. I could shrink it. Okay, so after a little bit of tweaking, and you can play with it any way you want, you could tweak individual things. Again, this is not a really great layout. I just did this very quickly. So now here's another version that I did. So I just wanted to show you how you can move things around and get them pretty much where you want them to be. You can actually go to Guides, I think, View, Guides Manager, and we can probably hide them all. Remove all guides. And so here we go. So now some finishing touches if you want. This is the one showing, so right below it I added some shadow. And you can do any kind of shadowing you want on that. You could just decide how you want to do that. And just give it a nice finishing touch. I think on the shadow I want to go a little bit, I don't know which one is which, let's see. This is probably the inside one. Maybe I'd go a little more black on that. So I would do this and just keep adding a little bit more there. Make it really almost very black right where the edge is. But you get the idea. You don't want it to be floating. It looks a little like it's floating. Depending on which way your light is showing, you can do shadows backwards or forward. But this is a finished product. And the nice part about this finished product is you can move all the artwork around. So I hope you liked this tutorial, and if you did, please click like and subscribe. And thank you very much for your support.